For math this week, you will be doing the tic-tac-toe board just like you've done in previous weeks. I am on page 9 of your packet if you would like to follow along. The goal for the week is to complete 4 in a row, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. And for an extra challenge, you could try to get a blackout by completing all of the activities on the board. You can choose from a game, an activity, or word problems. After you complete one of these choices, you can fill out the Show What You Know page. There is one Show What You Know page for each day of the week, and these start on page 50 of your packet. So you will do one activity and the Show What You Know page each day of the week. You could plan out which activities you want to do each day and fill out your planner. The games for this week are Salute, Cover That Number, I Spy Three-Dimensional Shapes, and 101 and You're Out. All of these games are from previous weeks, but if you need a refresher on how to play any of them, the directions are in your packet, and I will link the videos to these games in the description box below, as well as with all the other links your teacher sent out. The first math activity for this week is called Measure It, and if you are in 2nd grade, it's called Measure It and Graph It. Both of these are on page 11 of your packet. If you are in kindergarten, you are going to be going on a length hunt. First, lay out a strip of paper, a stick, a rope, or some other object that you can use as a measurement. Next, have your child find 5 things in the room that are shorter than, longer than, or about the same length as the object. You could try different combinations and different objects. Be creative. Lastly, have your child record what they find using pictures and words on the Show What You Know page for the day. If you are in 1st grade, you are going to be using the clock on page 62. Go ahead and cut out the analog clock and the minute and hour hands. Just a warning, on the back of this page is a game board that you may want to use. So I would recommend either you could make a copy, draw your own game board, or just play that math game before you do this clock activity. Then have your child try to place the hour hands to show the times that are listed on page 11 of your packet. In 1st grade, students are supposed to tell and write time in hours and half hours. So for children who want to do more for this activity, you could either set this clock to a time or just use a real analog or digital clock and have them tell you the time. They could write the time too. Any practice with a clock is great. For 2nd grade, we want you to measure the length of the fingers and thumb in inches on your left hand. Measure to the nearest whole inch. You can also measure the length of other people's fingers and thumbs in your household. Then you could also ask your teacher to measure their fingers and thumb. For a challenge, make a line plot to show the measurements and then answer the questions listed on page 11 of your packet. There's also an example of a line plot down here on page 11. So this is an example of a line plot, which you can also find on page 11 of your packet. So up at the top, I have my title, which is Lengths of Fingers. I have my line with all of my numbers, which represent the number of inches, and I'm going to be making a dot for each measurement that I made. So for example, if one of my measurements was 2 inches, I would put a dot above the 2. I would do this for every measurement that I had. So I've gone ahead and made a dot for every measurement that I made. So this means that I had one measurement of 1 inch, one measurement of 2 inches, 3 measurements of 3 inches, and 1 measurement of 4 inches. So let's say that I measured another person's finger and I got 2 inches again. So what I would do is I would just put another dot right above this one to represent that 2 inches. Just like that. These questions are, number 1, if your finger length was in between 2 whole numbers, how did you decide which finger length to choose? For example, if your measurement was in between 1 and 2 inches, how did you decide which one to use, 1 or 2? And number 2 is, what is the difference in lengths between the longest and shortest finger that you measured? The next activity is for kindergarten and 1st grade, and it is called Which One Doesn't Belong? The instructions are on page 13 if you would like to follow along. We've done this before, so you might already remember how to do this. You will look at the 4 images and decide which one doesn't belong with the other 3. Then describe your thinking using math words. There are many ways to think about each one. Take it to the next level by figuring out a reason why each picture might not belong, or by making your own Which One Does Not Belong puzzle to share. The images for kindergarten are on pages 63 and 64, and the images for 1st grade are on pages 65 and 66 of your packet. If you are in 2nd grade, there is a mental math activity for you, just like you've done in past weeks. This is on page 13 of your packet. You are going to solve each one of these problems in your head and try to solve each problem more than one way. After you have solved all of the problems, choose your favorite strategy and record the steps you used on the Show What You Know recording sheet. Make sure you record all the steps you used so that someone else could use your strategy. For students who want to do even more, they could write a letter to someone and share how they solved the problems as well as a problem for them to try. The math word problems of the week are similar to how they have been in past weeks. They are on page 12 of our packet. All of the word problems are listed by grade level, and students should make and fill out the problem-solving organizer. Have fun and be creative!